9.75 to move ahead of Sabrina Marr. Here's that performance by Christy Phillips, the current national all-around champion on the floor exercise.
And this performance was even better than in the team competition. Watch this full twisting double back. Good landing. I am always amazed at how she pulls out those double backs.
She's had this kind of style and pizzazz since she was a little girl, hasn't she, Kat?
I've known Christy since she was about 5 years old, and she used to love performing. There's a double tuck. Had to step forward out of that, but many gymnasts would have touched it out.
Also on the table, Vice President of the Technical Committee of the International Gymnastics Federation from Jefferson, Iowa.
You have to smile when you watch this routine. Looks like a lot of fun.
Although you have to admit, this wasn't an easy routine for Christy Phillips. She's really honed in on making sure that she did this final pass perfectly, a pike double back.
Great landing. There's her mom and dad again watching.
Way better, way better, way better.
It's been said that Christy Phillips could become one of the best crowd gymnasts of all time.
This is where Christy shows her tremendous determination in competition. The full-in pike is not really that great. It certainly isn't very high. And look at, she just barely beats her head to the mat. She gets her floor down, her feet down, and you'd never know that she barely made it the way she sells that to the judges.
And again here, doing a tuck double back. Now you can see she had to step forward, but it's really not a deduction.
And your score, 9.725. It's a sport of microseconds and decimal points, and she is now, as I mentioned, just 1/12,000th of a point out of first place.
Here on her last tumbling run, she did a pike double back. This was the cleanest of the three moves because she pulled it around a little bit easier than I expected that she'd landed at the end of the exercise. A very difficult dismount. Well done.
So now we move on from the first rotation on to rotation number 2, and we see that Sabrina Marr will now go into the floor exercise. Christy Phillips will be on the vault. Kelly Garrison-Steeves on the balance beam. And we should mention that Kelly Garrison-Steeves, very unusual for a gymnast in that she says the balance beam, one of the toughest apparatus to perform on, is her favorite event.
Well, if you've watched Kelly on balance beam, you can understand why it's her favorite. She's uncanny on this event. Her sense of balance and the movement on the balance beam is extraordinary.
This concludes our warm-up period. Our judges will now resume.
Kelly Garrison-Steeves has been dominating the collegiate side of this sport. She is not as clearly dominant in the national and world competitions. In the optional, she had a 9.65.
Kelly's been good on the beam since she was 12 years old when she was an alternate for the 1980 U.S. Olympic gymnastics team.
Now watch this mount and then into her first pass. It's a very difficult mount. Round off, tuck back on. Little problem, but she recovered. 2 back handsprings to another back tuck. Good landing.
Kathy, how does it affect the rest of your routine when you get off to a shaky start like that?
For a gymnast like Kelly, it really doesn't affect her. She just keeps right on moving and gets into the groove of things. This is a very original and unique move that Kelly made up. Already, in the first half of her balance beam routine, she does more difficulty than anyone else in the competition. And a beautiful turn to a balance
Kelly's style on the beam, as she does her Garrison roll there, a shoulder roll without using her hands, is the fact that she rarely waters down. She's always doing a full-out routine.
Kelly is not afraid to take chances. Here's a new dismount. Round off, double tuck, and a perfect landing. There, but it should actually score still quite well. We'll take another look at the dismount. You can't land it any better than this. Good lift, good rotation, and look at that.
Sabrina Marr waiting to go into the floor exercise, our current leader in the all-around finals. While we wait for Kelly Garrison-Steve's score, Sabrina Marr mentally preparing for the floor exercise.
This was a very good routine for her in the team competition, as well as a crowd favorite. She opens with a very difficult tumbling run, a double layout. A difficult pass to do.
And how can you go wrong with music to Born in the USA?
Round off, whip over, through to a double twist. Very well executed. Positions are very effective. Here's her final tumbling run. Double tuck and another perfect landing. I have never seen Sabrina this on before in a competition. That's her coach, Don Peters.
While she was performing, Kelly Garrison-Steve got a 9.65 on the balance beam, which means Sabrina Marr now needs 9.5 to stay ahead of Garrison.
We were so impressed in the team competition how she handled her layout double back mount, a very difficult mount. You can see here today she nailed this thing even better than in the team finals. Look at the tremendous determination in that face. Round off back handspring, and right here, boom, layout double back in a stretch position. She pikes in just a little bit, but look at the landing. Chest up, and she knows she's got it.
9.875, and she remains solidly in first place. Sabrina Marr. Christy Phillips now needs a 9.5 to stay ahead of Kelly Garrison-Steves in second place. Now, as she prepares for the vault, let us tell you that in women's gymnastics, they take 2 passes at the vault and take the best score. She had a 9.825 Thursday night on the vault in the optionals.
Christy has really improved in this event. Ever since they came out with the round-off approach vault, she's become much stronger.
definitely what we've been waiting to see from Christy Phillips, that fighting instinct that she shows so well in competition. She has tremendous speed here into the board. Round off, good approach, excellent push from the horse, and look at the form in the air. And of course, talking about nail in a landing.
She also gets more distance than she usually gets on this vault. Good lift, and lands farther from the horse than usual.
And her score is 9.825, so that keeps Christy Phillips in second place. A 9.9 on this next vault. She could overtake Sabrina Marr.
It's really going to be tough to improve on that last vault. Okay, a little hop on the landing. I think the first vault was better.
Nice job. Very well done, okay? Nice job. Good.
We talked about her trying to improve on that first vault. What she was doing here, obviously, was trying to get more distance from the horse. She had good height, but she was trying to take it out farther away from the horse so the judges would notice that. Well, as a result, she over-rotated just a little bit and took a hop on the landing. Look at that face as she barrels down the runway. Really nice in the air. Everything looked pretty clean. She had a little too much juice, and of course over-rotation caused that hop, which will be a minor deduction.
She needs a 9.9 to overtake Sabrina Marr and move into first place. She has already solidified second place on her first vault. There's Greg Marsden, the head coach of the United States. He's also a very successful coach on the collegiate level. Marsden has had 6 national women's champion teams at Utah.
And there's his assistant coach, Donna Kozo, and of course Don Peters as well.
Christy Phillips gets a 9.775, so the first vault holds, and she remains solidly in second place.
Stop.
And the standings after 2 rotations look like this. Sabrina Marr holding on to a slim lead in first place, followed by Christy Phillips and Kelly Garrison Steeves. Now let's go back to Brent Musburger in the CBS Broadcast Center.